In this video, we will find the domain and range of linear equations. Pictured are primary vocabulary words that you should ensure you are familiar with. If you're not, I recommend that you look in prior notes and possibly videos online. Number 19, the daily cost of hiring a plumber, Y, to work X hours on a repair project can be modeled using a linear function. The plumber charges a fixed cost of $80 plus an additional cost of $45 per hour. The plumber works a maximum of 8 hours per day. For 1 day of work, what is the range of the function for this situation? To solve for the range using the TI-84, first we need to create the equation and then analyze our options. Okay, so it looks like we have, in fact, we do have, X is our hours, and we have $45 per hour and initial cost, a B value of 80. So this would be Y equals 45x plus 80. Now that we've formed that, let's look at our options. Well, they're asking for the range. And as I've stated before, range only involves Y values, X values imply domain. So that eliminates A and C. Now we have B and D. Okay, let's put our formula in and take a look at it. It's pretty obvious which option we needed to select, but let's go ahead and work through this. Clear out what we have in there. Okay, we have 45x plus that initial of $80, push enter. And yes, I'm definitely starting at 0 and I'm working one step at a time because you have 1 hour, 2 hours, up to 8 hours. Okay. And yes, this is a continuous situation because it can involve partial hours as well as partial hours, which would be partial cost. So that's all valid. And that's shown with our inequalities. Okay, so let's go ahead and enter this in and take a look. Now, he works 8 hours a day. So we need 0 to 8. Well, at 0, he's going to start with $80 no matter what. Well, the only one that starts with $80 is B. That's why I said it's pretty obvious. We can't start at 45 because 45 is actually our slope. Okay, so, but let's verify that we're ending at the correct amount. So we need to go to 8 hours. Remember, he'll work 1 day. He can only work 8 hours. And that is confirmed at $440. Oh my gosh, I'm in the wrong profession. That's pretty good money. Okay, that is verified. So let's try another calculator. Using the TI-84, we need to enter the equation into the calculator. Well, first we build the equation. Well, we have Y equals with a rate of $45, okay? And we know that's our slope. Why? Because we see this per hour. An hour, we are told, is X. So then that would be 45X plus this initial value or B value of $80. Okay. And remember, he is going to work 8 hours a day, and they are asking us for that range, which would be our Y value, but a range for 1 day of work. So that would be 0 to 8 hours. He can only work 8 hours in that 1 day. So let's enter the equation we built. Y equals, clear out what we have. So we have 45x plus that initial fee of $80. Okay, now I have that entered. We don't need to graph it. What we need is a table. Let me check my table and make sure it's in auto. Okay, and I need to start at 0. That would be more convenient. Now let's go second and graph. and that's going to give us what we need. It'll be the brown colored items. So 80 is first. So looking at our ABCD options, okay, of course, we need Y values. X implies domain, so get rid of anything with X. Now we need to start because our B value at 0 is 80. And that's how we built our equation. So the only option that starts with 80 is B. Okay, now we need to go down to 8 hours and verify that after 8 hours he earns $440. And he does. It's right here. Okay, so that is option B, verified on the TI-84. Okay, for the Nspire, to answer number 19 and get our range, we need to go to a new document, enter. No, we don't want to save the old one, so say no. Oh, well, not unless you have something important in your calculator. You can say yes. I don't want to, so I'm going to say no. But I need a graph. I need number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and enter 2, and then it sets it up. Well, what was or what is my actual equation? Well, that would be y equals, I have a rate of $45 per hour, and we've already been told, of course, that hours is X, and per hour implies X because it has the rate, and then per hour would tell you your variable. That's just the way it's generally stated. So that gives me 45X, and I do have a B value of $80. So let's enter that. 45x plus 80. Let's make sure I entered it correctly. Well, actually, it's typed. So now that I see it's typed correctly, now I enter it. See the difference? Sometimes students like, I entered it, it's not doing anything. Well, actually, you've typed it in and you haven't entered it yet. You got to tell the calculator what to do, right? Okay, now we need to add a table. So let's go to menu and number 7. If you press 7, it's going to highlight what you need and then push enter. And there you go. All you need to do is go up 1 to see the 0. And it tells you you need to start at 80. Okay, and again, range implies Y. So we have A and B are implying domain because they have an X. Now we look at B and D. We have to select B because it starts at 80. And then if we arrow down to the maximum of 8 hours a day, 8 hours, and that verifies how much he would end with at one day, which would be a total of 8 hours. Okay, using the Desmos TEKSES version, we can solve number 19. Now, don't worry if you don't want to use the TEKSES version. It really doesn't matter which Desmos you use. It'll all come out the same. Okay, let's create our equation. We need to enter our equation in and then view the table. Or we could just create the table while we enter. Either way, doesn't matter. So we have, again, a rate of 45, and it is per hour, and hours are X. So Y equals 45X plus that initial fee of $80. So even if he doesn't work, he walks in the door, you still got to give him $80. I would say even if he drives out to your house and it's not a big deal and it's done or you don't have a problem. Anyway, that would be his initial fee. Now your plumber's only going to work one day. And we are looking for range, and range implies Y values. And again, as I said before, that would eliminate your X values because they imply domain. And for those 8 hours, he can for that one day, which would be 8 hours, he can only work one day. It says he's only working one day, so 0 to 8. So that's what we're trying to calculate. Okay, so I'm going to do this by pushing the plus and then table. However, I don't want to use the 1 there, the X of 1 and the Y of 1, because that's when you use a bunch of table. Like you're going to add like another one and another one. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go with a solid X because I'm only doing one table, so I don't have to. Now I have to put in the expression for my Y, which would be the 45X plus the 80. Okay, well, nothing comes up. Well, that's because we have to put in the hours. Well, before it even gets there, we can call that 0 hours. Okay, and then enter, and then you can work 1 and see how it's starting to get intuitive. So just keep pushing enter until you get to 8. That is 0 to 8 hours. That's 1 day's work. And if you look at your Y column, your expression for Y, we start at let's change this. We start at the $80 and end at the 440 for 8 hours of work. And this will tell us, or it does tell us, that option D would not be valid. Thank you for watching. If you would like the materials that accompany these videos, you can visit us at numbersareradical.com. And once again, everyone, happy testing.